Hi everyone, this is J-Mart. In this video, I'm going to show you my top 3 bodyweight exercises that I recommend for beginners as they begin their journey to bodyweight mastery. I'll show you demonstrations of the exercises, I'll give you cues to think about as you're performing them, and I'll show you common mistakes people make so you can avoid them and train safely. So let's get started. So my real name is John and I'm a personal trainer. And I help people get stronger, more flexible, have better endurance, have a better body composition. What is your goal? Just tell me and I'll help you get there. Just crush the like button as a way to repay me. So before we go into the actual exercises, I just want to go over my reasons why I picked these 3 in particular. First of all 3 exercises are compound movements that target multiple large muscle groups such as quads, hamstrings, glutes, and calves, so you're being very efficient with your time. Second of all, I think these 3 provide a good balance between strength, flexibility, and endurance, and they'll help target parts of the legs that people often overlook, such as the toes, ankles, and knees. Lastly, I've provided a mix of bilateral and unilateral exercises, which are important for different reasons. Bilateral exercises are performed with both legs at the same time, so they're really good for developing maximum strength, while unilateral exercises are performed one leg at a time, so they're better for developing flexibility and they have better athletic carryover. If you think about it, most sports require athletes to run, which is a unilateral movement. Let's move on to the exercises, and at the end I'll show you how to put it together into a quick 60-minute workout that'll raise your heart rate.
The first exercise is the squat parallel hovers. This exercise is good for developing the slow but more efficient type 1 muscle fibers, which are important to train for endurance sports. You can do this one either supported or unsupported. For the supported variation, use a wall or another sturdy object to hang onto with your hands, and lower your body down into a squat position just below an imaginary line parallel to the floor, going back from your knees. Slowly come back up slightly above that parallel line. Very slowly keep going just below and above that imaginary parallel line without using any momentum. You can also do this unsupported. For the unsupported variation, you can change arm placement to make the exercise easier or harder. If you get really comfortable with performing this exercise and are looking for a challenge, try a single leg variation. Cues to consider for this exercise are: first, try to keep your feet as straight as feels comfortable for you. A little toe turnout is fine, but don't point your feet completely sideways as you'll lose a lot of stability that way. Second, keep your back straight by trying to lengthen your spine from the crown of your head to your tailbone. Lastly, perform this exercise very slowly and target at least 30 seconds continuously before stopping. Common mistakes are: 1. When feet are turned out too much and knees cave in as you perform the hovers. Straighten your feet as much as is comfortable for you again and try to track your knees over your toes. Second common mistake is that the back is bent forward too much in order to stay balanced. If you can't correct this without falling backwards, then it might be appropriate to regress to the supported variation. The last common mistake is using momentum to bounce up and down instead of a slower hover over that parallel line. Either ask a training partner to watch you to make sure you're not doing that, or film yourself to see for yourself. The second exercise is the squat to kneeling transition. This one is more focused on the flexibility of your lower body, particularly targeting toes, ankles, and knees. I strongly recommend that beginners start this one by performing a supported variation, because without the support, the load applied on those joints might exceed the capacity as beginners you might have. However, I think deloading these joints by performing the supported variation can mitigate much of the risk of performing this exercise, and I don't want to make anyone fear doing this type of movement. To perform this exercise correctly, start from a comfortable squat position with your feet not too far apart, and slowly bring your knees down to the ground as you lift your heels up to allow the movement. You can have a pillow or another soft object on the floor ready to receive your knees in case you fall forward too quickly. Then finish the movement by placing the tops of your feet on the ground and sitting back on your heels. Then you can of course reverse the movement and come back to a squat. Remember the same cues as the first exercise. Keep your feet as straight as it is comfortable for you and track your knees over your toes. Don't bend your back forward and perform the movement slowly and with control. Mistakes are also similar to the first exercise, such as having the feet turned out too much. Also, another common mistake is placing the feet too far apart, or again, doing the movement too quickly. Slow it down. The third and last exercise is the sliding lunge. And I have a little bonus for you because this exercise is a 3-for-1 deal. All you need is something like a towel that slides on the floor, and you can perform the sliding lunge in 3 different planes of movement: sagittal, frontal, and transverse planes. Each one will load the body in different ways and improve the flexibility of the hips by placing the stretch sensation on different muscle groups. For the sagittal variation, you should feel the stretch mostly in the front of the hip, affecting the hip flexors. For the frontal plane variation, you should feel the stretch on the inner thigh, affecting the adductors. And for the transverse plane, you should feel the stretch on the outside of the hip, affecting glutes, particularly glute medius. Perform the exercise with the mindset of opening up the hips slightly more with each new repetition, and to emphasize that further, keep your torso as upright as you can. However, only slide as deep as your current level allows you and no further. If you're looking for an extra challenge, don't use the ball of your foot on your sliding leg. Instead, use the top of your foot for the transverse and sagittal variations and your heel for the frontal variation. The most common mistake for all 3 variations of this exercise is letting the forward knee cave inwards. Make sure you keep that knee as stable as you can and point towards the pinky toe. The second most common mistake is bending excessively from the back. Don't forget to keep your torso as upright as you can, and if you have to lean forward, then do it by using your hip, not your back.
Alright, as promised, now I'll show you my recommendation on how to put these 3 exercises into a 16-minute workout. Perform the 3 exercises for a total of 4 sets and organize each set into 1-minute length. Then you can divide that into 30 seconds of work and 30 seconds of rest to account for the full minute. Now for the unilateral exercise, you'll have to do 2 separate sets to account for each side, resulting in a total of 16 minutes to make up 4 sets. I don't think it matters what order you do the exercises in. What matters is that you actually do them, and you do them consistently and mindfully. So start with doing 1 16-minute workout per day and increase the frequency as you adapt. Well, there you have it, guys. That's my recommendation on how to get started with bodyweight exercises for legs and how to put it together into a short workout. The final message I'll leave you with is just to get started moving, whether it's the exercises I've recommended or other ones. And don't focus on what you can't do. Focus on what you can do it well and with intention. With that said, thank you for watching, and if you found this video helpful and want to encourage me to make more videos like it, then crush that like button, hit the subscribe. I don't even know what the notification bell thing does, but just hit it anyway. And if you're still watching and want to learn about mastering the basics of your body, then get my 16-week Body Basics program, available as a free PDF. I'll put the link to that in the description down below. Alright, thank you for watching and have a nice day. Peace.